So we welcome in Craig Button this morning. Craig, happy Tuesday. Hope you had a great family day, long weekend, whatever you got up to. We had our EST, our first annual bond spiel going down Saturday. Are you a big curler? Are you get on the pebble quite a bit, or?
I don't, but I love curling. I love curling. I love watching it. I love the strategy. I'm enthralled by it. I really should be curling more, but for whatever reason, I never really have.
Because you're still into the pickleball, correct? Is that still humming along?
No, yeah, pickleball, paddle, everything. Like, Tommy, you need to come down and do a little bit of training, do some paddle and pickleball. Like, it's a little easier on the body, and the social parts of it are really great.
You know what I enjoyed about curling, though, Craig, on Saturday? The beers and cigarettes.
Oh, well, hey, listen, I mean, not in that order, right?
Whenever. Yeah, exactly. I'd love to come and play pickleball. It sounds
next
like
time, I think the two of you, I would like to see it matching shorts and the whole bit.
I feel like that would be wonderful.
I can see.
Yeah, you gotta have a uniform, Eric. You gotta look. Pro-Am Sports. They better be Pro-Am Sports. Tell them to sell some good pickleball, matching pickleball. It's a double sport.
That's the next line of attire I think Jack and the boys can get involved with. We were curling Saturday, Craig, but we also had the TVs. Matthew Iwanek ran the whole show, and he had the TV set up on the ice to watch that thrilling. I mean, I last week said this might be the best of the best on best. Just due to how players are nowadays, the talent level, the training, the lack of booze and cigarettes, and on a serious note, these guys are highly tuned athletes now, and you've kind of taken a bit of the sandpaper, shall we say, out of the game. But Saturday was one in which, I mean, back to old style hockey, baby, and just your thoughts on everything going down Saturday, the fights kicking off, ultimately Canada falling in that game to the United States, but. Yeah, your thoughts on that Saturday and everything magically that took place.
Well, I'm not going to bury the lead. So, I mean 9 seconds into the game, it was mayhem, and we haven't seen anything like that in the NHL in years. So the fact of the matter was it kind of put everybody on notice that the game did matter to the players, and it was important. And I think that from that moment on, it really did unfold to be a really tense, intense, action-packed in a lot of different ways, a game. I mean, the teams are so good defensively, and Eric, as you point out, the skill level is fantastic. Add to the fact that they haven't had a chance to do best on best in almost 9 years. So you put all of that together, and you get what, and I don't think it wasn't spontaneous combustion. It was like, let's go. Like, I mean, Hagel talking after the game about, he says, oh yeah, he goes, you think I'm going to back down to that? Sam Bennett isn't backing down, Parayko. So I think it was a game that delivered, and it delivered in so many different ways. What was fascinating about, there was only one penalty each after that mayhem at the beginning of the game. It didn't there was physical play, there was hard play, but it didn't really result in anything like that. What you would say, oh boy, look at that chippy, look at that slash, look at that high stick, look at that charge. It really settled into really good hard hockey, and it's always interesting to me, and as we get to it now. We got a game on Thursday, and, the U.S. has talked about, we've all talked about how the U.S. has become better, the quality of player, they have superstars and everything. If they don't win on Thursday, nothing matters for them. All the pressure is on the USA on Thursday, in my view. All the pressure is on the USA because they believe that they're ready to ascend to the summit. Well, okay, here's your chance, because Saturday just becomes another game in international competition that, yeah, you won, but you didn't win when it mattered.
I'll throw this at you, Craig. Speaking of the U.S., and we saw that Charlie McAvoy had to go to hospital last night. Brady Tkachuk left the game. Matthew Tkachuk didn't play in the game. If you're Canada and you're a fan of the Canadian side, you're salivating at the thought of Thursday being somewhat advantageous due to this news. But if you're a GM and that's your guy, and you could even, like, if you're Kelly McCrimmon, Shea Theodore's week to week, as it was announced after he went down, and then McAvoy going down, like, are you kind of losing your mind in this scenario, or are you still caught up in the moment and being a fan of the game?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any question that the managers are fans of the game, Tom. But when you see one of your own players go down like that, they're going to be out. It might be a little bit different for Kelly in Vegas because they're going to be in the playoffs. For Don Sweeney with the Boston Bruins, they're fighting for their playoff lives. Losing Charlie McAvoy is a huge blow for them. And so, yes, you have to be concerned, when you see these players. I mean, you look at the Swedish team and the Finnish team. Now they're done. All the managers that have players on those, they're happy. Their players are returning. They're going to be a little bit rested. And here's the other thing about it too, Tom, is that Thursday's game's not going to be any less intense.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any less intense. And then Saturday, you're right back. The Oilers play at 1:00 on Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia.
And Sunday as well. Back to backs, yeah.
Right. Back to backs. So that's 3 and 4 for Connor McDavid. Right. And so you start to factor in some of the challenges. And like I said, for Vegas, it's a little bit different. For Florida, it's a little bit different. For Ottawa, not having Brady Tkachuk, that's a big blow. For Boston, not having Charlie McAvoy, it's a big blow not to have Theodore or Matthew. But their places in the playoffs are pretty much secure. For the teams that are fighting for playoff spots, that becomes a little bit different.
TSN's Craig Button joining us on the Nielsen Show. Lieutenant Eric Tom Gazzola with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Just going off that theme and given the batteredness of the USA lineup heading into Thursday, is that kind of where you're leaning as a difference? I know goaltending has been a hot topic of discussion for Canada and Jordan Binnington. Obviously, this is the guy now. I mean, you're going to go, but that's a place, Boston. We know what he's done in a one-off game before with a championship on the line. You've then got Connor Hellebuck, who is the capital X, I guess you could say, of X factors perhaps in this tournament. So where do you kind of see Thursday being decided? It'll be chippy, yes, as you said, but I think they've kind of gotten they've sussed out of all the fights. I wouldn't expect 3 fights to start another game, but is it come down to goaltending then, I guess, on Thursday night and boil down to?
Well, think about just big games. Think about big games when you get to this moment. In more cases than they're low-scoring games. Last year, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, it's a 2-1 game, right? Like it's a low-scoring game. I mean, you look at the Olympics in 2014, it's a low-scoring game when Canada wins the gold medal. It's a low-scoring game on Saturday because the goaltenders are that good, and the teams are that good in terms of playing there's just no room out there. So I'm just going to put the injuries aside right now. When I see what Canada has done in previous years, and we say this, we start off the tournament. Who's going to play with who should have been on the team? Who's not on the team? Can you believe they didn't name this team? That's what happens in Canada. And that just speaks to the passion of the Canadian hockey fan. But one thing that Canada has rarely does how their lines start or how they get going in their line setup, does it finish like that? And it's about getting better. And you heard it yesterday, how much better Canada looked, how much stronger they looked like they're getting from that game Saturday. And it doesn't hurt that McDavid was flying and McKinnon was flying. And while Crosby's always like kind of the benchmark and the barometer for flying. But you look at the shifts that John Cooper made in the lineup, I think now you're not trying to find something. You found some really good, strong play from your units in play. And I think that's a real big factor for Canada. And that's why when I say about the USA, like they might be banged up, but they didn't have to go through, okay, what do we got to find? Maybe a little bit in yesterday's game, but I thought they were trying to manage that a little bit too. They played hard. I think for Canada now, they found a place where they're really comfortable with their lineup. And I think that creates a little bit of an advantage again, and scoring goals creates an advantage. And the way they were able to, get their chances and get their opportunities, that all bodes well over the course of a tournament, because tournament play, and this is a short tournament, you have to get better as the tournament goes on. And I think you're seeing there. I don't see any question marks with Canada right now. It's like, oh boy, it's like, okay, go play.
Craig, I know Thursday is the focal point. All eyes are going to be glued on that game. I'm excited about it. I know we all are. But how much of the foundation for the 2026 Olympics has Doug Armstrong been able to lay down here with this team? And how much of an idea of the big tournament next year do we have when it comes to the Canadian side? Maybe even some of the opponents as well, because like you said, it's been almost a decade since a real best on best. This is a new generation of Canadian players. So what do you think we have going into the Olympics next year?
Well, I think for the four countries that participated in this tournament, I'd absolutely think it's not only to see, you're not only trying to win a tournament, you're not only trying to put together the best players, you're also trying to see how players respond playing against the other country's best players, because that's what the Olympics are. That's what best. So, what I would call it is it's somewhat, discovery. You're not discovering McKinnon or McDavid or those guys. You know that those guys are top drawer. But some of the other players, like Brandon Hagel, like you watch Brandon Hagel play, you go like he's automatic on the Olympic team for me now, right? Like, you start to watch it, and I might have been a little bit critical of Colton Parayko at the outset when he was selected to the team. You watch him a little more after he got selected, playing in St. Louis. He plays big minutes. I think Colton's played real well for Canada. So that's the discovery part. The Hagels and now Parayko's put himself right in the mix, which I think is really good. I mean, there's other players that have put themselves in the mix, but I think for having the option of more players rather than less, and the knowledge that they can play and play at that level is really important.
One of those events, Craig, here on Thursday that you wish you could kind of just lay your head down for a nap, speed up the clock, and puck drop mysteriously appears. But we will wait an extra couple of days. But we thanks for your time this morning to wrap up the weekend and preview Thursday's big final. Enjoy it, Craig, wherever you'll be watching.
Yeah, you guys enjoy it too. It'll be fun. I mean, we haven't had a game like that since, I really believe, since 2010 at the gold medal game in Vancouver. I mean, 2014 was a little bit different with Sochi, but I think 2010 will have the nation watching. I think Thursday will have the nation watching like 2010.
Well, Americans also, I do believe, with a 3-1 win during the round robin play or whatever during that tournament. So maybe history again repeating itself with the numbers there, and Canada gets them.
I want to point this out, Craig. I'm thinking hot pink and bright green for our outfits, short shorts when we team up as pickleball players, because that's the look I'm going for, and I think you're open to that, right?
Oh, 100%. Sign me up.
Okay. All thighs.
Patent pending. Thanks, Craig. TSN's Craig Button joining us. Fun guy.